Welcome to a Cofi with the FinTech Pod. We'll explore the latest trends, innovations, and ideas shaping the financial industry. Join host Alex Irigoyen as he interviews leading experts in the field. Learn from top CFO, tech leaders, investors, and many more. Join us and get inspired. Let's get started.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Coffee with. Today we have with us Javier Moya. Javier, how are you doing? Thank you very much for joining
Hello,
today.
you're welcome. Thank you to you.
How is the week going so far?
Very good. Is a good day here in Cartagena, so it's a sunny day, and we are enjoying.
Awesome. Great, Javier. Thank you very much for joining again. You have a very extensive career in starting in IT, then moving to finance as well. You've been related in sales.
Yes.
Could you share a bit how it's been that career? How you started in IT? How did you move finally to finance?
Well, it's a little bit complex because my background it's telecommunication engineer from 2080. And in the beginning, I was 8 years in Indra working in Madrid. I was moving from here, from Cartagena to Madrid. And at that time, I was working for Latin projects. So I was working during 8 years, more or less, in IT projects where I was able to be involved in different IT sales project, IT projects, and economic projects. So I was able to identify which were my best options to work on in. So finally, I identified that the economics were good for me to identify, to planning, and to see that I was good at going into planning, planification, and finance things, and not only sales and ID, whether or not to be able to plan the cost in time for our customer. So during that time, I was in charge in different projects in 23 countries,
Mhm.
and also I was trying to do an MBA in La Salle. It was a good high school, business school in Madrid, and also I started my own company, my startup there in Madrid during 3 years, where I was in charge in finance in order to be able to start with my new profile. So it was a little bit complex because I was trying to move from one side to another side,
Mhm.
but because something in my side, I was thinking that I have to move on and move
Yeah.
forward to finance. So finally, 8 years later, I came back to here to Murcia because I had a new offer from a technical company for 5G, for 5G, and later for 5G. And I was in charge in sales and also in finance. So I was trying to move not faster, but also slowly, and trying to be able to consolidate my new profile. The company was at that time only 5 people, 5 staff people, and during the following 5 years, we were able to expand our brand around many countries outside of Spain, traveling to USA, traveling to Japan, to South Korea, and I was able to sell and also to improve my skills in finance, to be able to develop new IRP inside the company, to transform the digitalization inside the company, and to be able to move forward in towards new skills in planning, finance planning, with advisory, with new offering for example, we have different offers to buy the company, and we were involved in different due diligence. So it was a little bit complex because for me it has to be something new. I had to compete to different CFO around the world, that their background was in business and economics, and it was not my side. But finally, with I try to see that like a hobby and try to improve as far as I can and to understand accounting like I was doing my engineer being. And
Yeah.
finally, 2 years ago, I was in charge of a big company like was dosfarma.com. It was a new step into my finance profile with a company that it was doing revenues for 40 million per year. So this is also more or less my roadmap during the last 12 years, and now I'm in charge of a new company that we were doing CFO, fractional CFO for different companies. Our scope is to be able to be responsible for CFO as a CFO for 3, 4 companies maximum, where you can organize your time and organize and to be competitive in terms of cost for your customer that finally are
Awesome.
your
Awesome.
boss. Yeah. So this is more or less. I have given you 2, 3 minutes a global view of my
Yeah.
background.
Very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing, Javier. So, do you think having back your academical background in IT is helping you somehow to work now in finance?
Well, this is a very good question because I'm a being engineer helped me to organize things in terms of cost. Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
the good thing. Um, the good thing here also is that I look in numbers like the business, like where we were. I was doing in sales. And also, the thing is, my background in engineering give me another plus in terms of my competence.
Yeah.
My other colleagues in CFO, because today everything is digital. Today everything is technical and technological. Also
Yeah.
in finance, and you have to adapt to that new world.
Yeah.
So that could be my good point. Also, I try to resolve my point in terms of accounting, studying and doing many courses in different business schools in order to be able to understand full complex accounting.
Mhm.
But yes, it's technical engineering background. It's a good point. Finally, yeah. From the beginning, I didn't know really if
Yeah.
this should be good or not because finally accounting is totally different. But finally, you have to organize like slots you have in accounting, like you were doing in engineering thing.
Yeah. And I want to jump now to your background in pharma during COVID and as well now the project of the new company of Sharf. But also you're doing right now a PhD in
Yeah,
finance.
yeah.
So what is it about? What are you researching right now, Javier?
Well, it's hard to say because I'm trying to take it like a hobby every weekend and also with my family, and it's a little bit hard for them. But for me, it's good because I love studying. I love trying to do some new things. And the PhD, it's also because going in a high level in different economics and PhD in my background, and also trying to complete my background in the CFO area.
Mhm.
The goal here was because during my time I was in dosfarma.com. Dosfarma.com is an e-commerce, a pharmacy e-commerce. I was looking into the capex and the opex, and for example, the opex, and when you were trying to context to confirm that's how do you say marketing you are using to invest in trying to get customers to your company. Traditionally accounting is not using that invest as a capex, it's using like an opex. So one of the goals here is trying to understand whether this OPEX should be a CAPEX or not. And during that time, it was good to say that we are getting numbers that you can be able to make this OPEX like a profit in order to put into the CAPEX. Yeah, because if you put into the CAPEX, the enterprise value could be higher than you are putting into your number. So finally, the accounting is going to be different, and for your investor would be fine and would be able to invest more into your company. This is one of our goals. So finally, you can see I'm mixing technical part in order to
Yeah.
be able to see how we can record the information from your investment you are doing in customer, because this is something important. If you can record and you can show that you are getting profit from your customers, you are investing in, you can demonstrate that in the future has to be capex, not opex. Yeah.
Yeah.
So finally, it's like how technical part, engineering part are helping, are supporting accounting part in order to change the way you are looking through the opex and the capex way
Yeah.
for marketing.
Very, very interesting. And how do
Yes.
you manage, Javier, balancing having a family with being a founder, with doing a PhD, everything at the same time? Is that possible?
Well, having 3 kids, having a wife, also a wife that has another business in her own as well. It's a little bit complicated, but finally the key point here is to be able to organize good during the week. You have, for example, you have to use Sundays in order to be able to organize the following week. Yeah, and as well as your wife is doing the same. Uh, you can organize with her in order to be able to organize the week internally, externally, with your kids, with the school, with your hobby, with your studies, with your friends, with your company. Finally, you have time for doing
Yeah.
everything. If you organize well, you can do everything. It's the same you are doing for your finance area. If you organize good to have cash for next 6 months, we're not going to be able to be good using your balance internally, right?
Yeah. So do you take like a budget of time for
Yeah, it's the
your
same. It's the
family?
same. It's the same. I always say to all our customers, the cost is not your money. The cost is not your cash. The cost is your time you are doing for what are you going to do. So if you spend time doing something that is the cost is lower that you can spend into your growth, you
Yeah.
are not doing well at your things. So the time is the higher thing and the most important thing you have to spend in things.
Awesome.
That's the key point.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
then, Javier, you were working in the pharma industry, e-commerce, pharma plus e-commerce during COVID. That was a huge growth of a market, right? Could you share a bit how were those days? Also from like when the pandemic started, how was the forecast in there for the industry? How that changed later?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, for example, in my case, I was leaving one company in 2020, and 1 month later, I started in thespharma.com. And also at that time, in the middle of that transition, the COVID was like boom here in Spain, right? Boom here in Spain and also worldwide. So at that time, it was a little bit changed because I was putting to a new company, national company. I was working at an international company,
Mhm.
and during the COVID, being a e-pharma, e-commerce, so e-commerce in the sector of pharma, we were having a crash in two orders. We stepped into the year before we were closing numbers almost into 50 million revenues, 15 million revenues. And the following year, into COVID year, we were doing almost 40 million revenue. So the step into we did, it was a little bit crazy because, for example, in terms of finance, we had to do many other things, many complex things in order to understand uh, which was our cash, which was our planning, which were the things we could invest into, which were our purchasing things. We had to, we need cash, we had to prepare many orders. We had to scale up all our staff into all the company. And it was a little complex moment be integrated in a company like this pharma.com. But for me, it was not only crazy, but it was very comfortable. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because I did understand, I did learn a lot, and also after that we started to do a new investment round. So,
Mhm.
but
Awesome.
it was good. It was good.
And
It
then,
was it was like going to the war. Yeah,
yeah,
you are not sure you are going to get back home, but finally it's like you have to do work. That's all.
well, eventually you did return home. So that's good.
Yeah,
And,
2 years later, I came home.
and what made you start? Because it's definitely not the same being a CFO, right? For a company that it's established, that it's growing a lot, and then jump to your own project as an entrepreneur, leading a fractional CFO company. What made you take that decision? Because I assume things were going good in the pharma industry, right? So what made you change to start now your own firm?
Well, the decision it's complicated because it's on your own. It's the moment or not.
Yeah.
Finally, some days ago, I was with another friends and I was telling them, "Hey, the moment you know where the moment is for sure, and you had two decisions, you had two options, you had to decide going or not, or giving apart." Yeah. Finally, it was something slowly because I was giving it to my brain, like understanding that it was my moment, and also because in the company I was at that time in this pharma I was leaving. Yeah, we were selling the company, so I was leaving. It was the natural way, and I was not going to be there in charge of anything more because I knew stuff was coming here, and it's normal.
Hmm.
So finally, I decided I was like, you are pushing into a new step, and living is pushing you, and new door were open. I was thinking how to improve into new business model like CFO, interim CFO, fractional CFO, called like you will know. For example, in USA, they are calling fractional, and here it's interim. And we were looking into different regions. For example, in UK, 35 companies are using interim and fractional services.
35%.
35, 40% companies they are using, or they are inside of, I need this kind of service because it's going to be more competitive for me. Or for example, startups, they are not thinking mainly to have a CFO, yeah, because the cost of, and if you have the option to have a top senior manager CFO, you will be able to have one very top professional
Hmm.
with 10, 15 years experience, and at that time, for you it would be better for the cost and for the experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So outside Spain, you have more options to the business model is more mature. Yeah, in terms of it's the growing is higher. Here in Spain, it's something relative new, but I thought it was the key moment for me for the business model. And why not, Alex?
Yeah. No, no, for sure.
For
I
sure.
100% in favor of jumping.
In favor of the country, yeah?
Yeah. And what type of companies do you serve, Javier? Is it mainly a startup, or can it be more like small and medium businesses that are more established? How does your
Yeah, our target it's mainly from 1 million to 50 million, more or less. Typical companies they do not have CFO, or they are thinking they could need one, and also because the CEO in charge of everything is being responsible for all the things in finance as well.
yeah
So that part of spending time you are doing like a CEO, it's making your time complex because that time you can use to make grow in the company. So at that time, 1 million to 50 million, you have one, two, three, four administrative staff. You have external advisory that they are doing your accounting, and you, for example, as well, you need to install one ERP or different digital apps inside your company. At that point, we are good at because we can start with them working in order to plan which is your cash to make this professional, and you can review every week. We can prepare as well reporting every monthly with different and good technology like Cofi, for example. Yeah, and also you can plan for 3 6 months away, where you can look at which kind of decision you are going to take or which complex decision you have to take in the future. And also because many people, the problem that many people or many CEOs when they come to us is like, well, I'm not sure if I can do this investment or not.
yeah
Yeah, and we ask why not? Because I'm not sure which is the cash I'm going to have or not. So that's where we start with, and that's the key point. And
Okay.
also has to be. It's a little bit bad to say, but it has to be a CEO that would like to change, would like to change, would like to install technology, would like to go out from their comfort zone.
Yeah. And is there, Javier, a point that I assume where the company is doing so good, right, that it gets to a moment that they don't need you anymore, right? If they pass like the 50 million, for example, and they need a full-time CFO.
Yeah, that's 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 the key moment of the company. When you are growing with the company, it's there is a moment that the company needs you more, or if the company is well organized and well technical installed in terms of you have one good ERP, you have a good technology for digital documentation, good SharePoint, for example, or a good drive, yeah, in order to keep your information keep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have, for example, good Power BI or some kind of good solution in order to review your reporting good faster. If you have a good roadmap
Yeah.
integrating your in terms of your technology and finance area, you would not be able you will probably would not be needed to have a full CFO all the time, because if you are faster, you can think faster, and you have the information faster. The time you have to spend in it's not high, for sure. For example, when I was in other companies, 1 2 years later, the company didn't need to have me 100% time. Probably 80, 70, 60. But
So,
if everything is good, install and you have the information faster.
so you think you can have a fractional CFO if you have everything in place, even though at later stage of
Probably because finally the most of the time you are going to spend in the company is doing networks, doing meetings, reviewing with your investor, presenting how is it going the balance, and discussing with banks. That's all.
yeah.
That's all. So Probably in a company like from Ibex, probably it's different. I'm talking about from 50 million to 100 million. Yeah, probably at that time you need CFO all the mornings from 9 to 2. It's okay. But if you have a good work, a good team, it's structural. So human resources and finance area are structural and OPEX teams. You probably need uh, enough team, enough staff to have all the information faster. That's all.
Yeah. But definitely with all the digital transformation that we see in the office of
Absolutely,
finance and the
absolutely,
CFO.
absolutely. Because the people has to be there to add value to your company, to add value to your company. That's all. In order to be able to analyze and to take decisions and to propose to the CEO, hey, we should go in that direction.
And a question that I like now to do quite a bit, how do you see the impact of AI in the in
Oh,
a
good, good, good. I was posting something in LinkedIn. It was about those are weapons for people, not to substitute people. It's
yeah,
weapons for people. The problem here is all the people are using IA in a crushing way. This is a boom. Yeah, it's a boom. Everything is talking about IA. It's like where we were at the big bang from .com. You remember in 2001? I think you were younger at that time. But at that time, everything is like, oh, Terra. We are going to invest in Terra. We are going to do many websites. But now it's more or less the same. Everything is are using AI, are trying to. It's good too, and a lot of people are trying to think how we can install in our companies. This is the issue I think here. The issue
yeah.
because you have to think first in your internal process and first to understand if this is the way you would like to automate. And then after that, when you have a clear view for your internal process, you have to automate, and then you have to decide which are the technology you are going to use. If it's IA, perfect, but don't use IA to install and then understand your process. No, it's in the other way.
So, for example, let's say if you have a firm that has 10 employees in the finance department, 5 years from now, everything remains the same. So they have the same revenue, same volume, same margin, same everything. How many people are working now in that finance team? Is it 10
The
still?
same,
The same.
the same way. No, you can do more things. With the same cost, yet you will be able to do more things. You will be able to scale up your finance area, and you will be able to grow without getting more cost because you are automating process your internal process. The problem is when you are using people for unvaluable actions. You have to use the people for valuable value for action that makes you value in your
Yeah.
company. That's all.
So roles like accounting, do you think that are going to be more
For,
automated?
for example,
Yeah.
an accountant. An accountant has to think, not has to review. Has
Yeah.
to think, has to analyze, and he has to review internally whether the decision is good or not. This is the value, not to include all the invoices that are getting inside the company. No, 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 no. You have to think where has to be the accounting part you have to do or not, but getting value the people. Yeah. For example, in one company we were 12 staff. With the past 2 years, we were 12, and we were growing per three,
Mhm.
thanks to the automation. So automation has to be able not to lose people inside your company, if not to get value from that people you are using for more things. You are able to do more things. But the
Okay.
concept is like when a company goes bad, the first thing all the CEOs think about is how many people are having here in the company. We had to fire them.
Yeah.
No, no. First thing about how we can use that people to make the company grow. How we can use technology in order to do internal transformation. For example, here in Spain, it's a little bit complex in that way because we have to change the manner we do the things. We had to make the people change the way they are thinking in order to integrate the technology. This we are very far from here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
All the people are talking about technology, but when we get inside companies in the finance area, they are very far away from installing technology. Or, for example, there are companies that they have installed Navision during through 2 years, and they were not using it. So this is worse.
Yeah. No, that's definitely not a very good idea.
No, no.
Awesome.
But many companies do. Hey, let's install 2 3 apps, 2 3 applications software.
I never use them.
Never use them.
Awesome. So one last question, Javier. I want to be respectful with your time for those people starting early their career and they wanna jump in finance. What are the main skills that you think they should be learning right now
For CFO or
for finance in general? It can be controller, FP&A,
well,
CFO.
key points are you have to be a good at negotiating, discussing with banks. You have to be good at doing business. You have to be good at planning for sure. Planning, yeah, planning cash, planning report, planning budget, all these kind of things. And you have to be good at digital.
Mhm.
And finally, you have to be good at your stuff. You have to be a good leading, supporting CEO for everything at all moments. All moments. That's all. This is my four key points for leading finance area, for being at the finance, for being at the strategic part. Because finally, finance should be a strategic part for CEO
Mhm.
for all areas. For example, many colleagues in other different companies talk to me about um, why finance has to know everything from the company. Yes, for sure. Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, 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 yeah. From operation, from purchasing, from marketing, everything. Because finally, everything goes down to finance.
That's true. That's so true. Awesome. Javier, thank you very much for joining us today in the podcast.
Thank you very much to you, Alex, for your time, for trying to enjoy it, to trying to learn more. If you whatever you need, let me know.
Same in here. Javier, have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.